Whoa. Okay, it's working. Good morning, CHL3744. You are the first person to join Sunday Paper Live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Just moments ago, I couldn't get on here, so I turned off the phone and got back on. So, good morning to all of you, and welcome to Sunday Paper Live. Oh, there's Simon. There's my friend Simon, who I walked with yesterday. Who, if you don't follow Simon Sinek, please do. He talks so much about finding your why, The Infinite Mind. Those are his two new books. He has courses on his site, but most important, he's my friend, and he's going to walk with me and help me with my why, he said. That's what he said. That's what Simon said. So, good morning to all of you, to Sunday Paper Live people. Good morning, Brooks Mommy from South Carolina. Mint Goddess, Walker Ginny, and 48 others all joined at the exact same moment, so that's wonderful. I want to welcome all of you. I want to thank all of you who read the Sunday paper, which is a labor of love for those of us who work on it, so I want to thank you. There's been an outpouring of love and support for the Sunday paper, so I want to thank all of you for that. I want to thank all the writers who write. We're so glad today to be welcoming Dr. Chevalley. I'm a big fan of hers, and I think she has so many wise and insightful things to say, whether you're a parent or not. But obviously she has made a name for herself in the field of conscious parenting. But also I think there's so many valuable lessons in there to have, whether you're a parent or not, or want to be a parent someday, or whether you want to fix your parenting relationship, or whether you want to fix your relationship with your parent. All of those are possible, and I read through some of the questions that people gave to me, and some of them actually dealt with how do you deal with a parent, and also how do you deal with kids who are out of their routine, who are being extremely anxious. And so those are some of the questions we'll be talking to her about how to do your best in a difficult situation. The Sunday paper today, there's so many great pieces in there from Susan David, which I read through this morning. Focusing on your emotions will get you through this pandemic with greater wisdom. Really great piece by her on there. I think it's also Victoria Allridge wrote a great letter to her children, kind of capturing this moment in time. So many people have said, which I think is wonderful, try to capture this moment in time for your friends, for yourself, and if you have children, for your children, if you hope to have grandchildren one day, for your grandchildren, but really for yourself, to remember how you felt, to remember what you saw, to remember what you experienced. I was walking in my social distance walk last evening with my friends Simon and Kate, and you could see people walking with masks on, people walking to the side, people, however, saying hello, checking in on the people who they went by. But it feels in a way surreal to see people with masks, covering, and you can only see their eyes as you walk by them. So definitely a new normal, definitely something that we're all getting used to. But still important, I think, to try to get out there. Today I'm writing about, what is essential in this post-pandemic world that we're all about to enter into. I think many of us have been thinking about, in this period of time, how to be useful. Do we feel useless? Many people dealing with anxiety, loss of jobs, loss of savings, and wondering what they will be facing in a post-pandemic world. And so I tried today to write about the one essential thing that exists within all of us, which is love. And that's the thing we can bring to a post-pandemic world that will be essential no matter our age, no matter our profession. That will always be essential. And so I write a little bit about that today in my I've Been Thinking column. Michael Beckwith does the Sunday to-be list. I'm I'm reaching out of thing because I think what he wrote was really wonderful. Every week in the Sunday paper, we do a to-be list, not a to-do list, but a to-be list. And he wrote, I want to be more and never less of my true self. I want to be an amplifier of happiness and peace. I want to be radioactive with pure joy. I want to be more receptive to love. I want to be of greater service to the presence of God and to humanity. I want to be ever available to harmonizing prosperity. I want to be an instrument of laughter and spontaneous goodness. I want to be an opening for generosity of all things good. I want to be an ambassador for the next great stage of human evolution. I want to live the life triumphant. So he really knows his why. He knows why he's here, why he's doing what he's doing. That's what Simon talks about. And certainly Dr. Chevalley knows her why. She knows why she's here, what she's doing, what she wants to put out in the world, and what she wants to have an impact as she puts out into the world her views on parenting, on conscious parenting. So I have to look and see if Dr. Shefali, oh, there she is, conscious parent. Let me, and we will get right to it. We will get right to it because she is wonderful. And hi, good morning.
Good morning. I'm so happy and honored to meet you finally.
Finally, I know we've tried to get together so many times, and I'm so glad that we are getting together this way. But I hope in this post-pandemic, we will get together in person because I'm a big admirer.
So too.
Yes, and thank you so much for your piece in the Sunday paper. And I know you've been out there trying to calm so many millions of parents who find themselves at home, homeschooling, trying to come up with distractions, trying to manage anxiety, trying to keep it all together. Dr. Chevalley, what's the most important thing you want parents to know at this moment in our lives?
The most important thing I want them to really understand deeply is that our children will only be as anxious as the energy we radiate. And yes, some children are temperamentally more sensitive, so it's not entirely the parent's job to control that. But so much of what our children absorb depends on the energy we radiate. And if they see us holding this pandemic in neutrality, in perspective, without being overly reactive and overly in fear-mongering mode, then they will absorb that. They're looking for cues to us, even though we don't see them, especially if you have teenagers, you think, they're not looking at us. Sure they are. They're looking to see, are you still waking up? Are you still exercising? Are you still being productive? Are you still connecting to family? Are you still eating healthy? Or are you just withdrawing and sitting on your couch and looking at the data on the news? They're looking at us all the time energetically. So when parents take care of that energy, it's such a resource. Like you said, love. We have so much power right now, even though we feel powerless. Yes. And the greatest power is in the energy we radiate. And let's take ownership of that.
So how do we do that, Dr. Chevalley? Because so many parents themselves are anxious, right? Anxious that they won't be able to parent properly, that they don't know what to do. Maybe they've lost their job. Maybe they've lost their savings. Maybe they don't know where the food is going to come from. So they say, well, I don't want to have anxiety, but I have it.
Right. So there are many layers, right? So for those families that are not even knowing where the next meal will come from, yeah, I don't take away their anxiety at all. I understand. I can have compassion. All I could say to those families is that this is the time to reach out, to not be ashamed or embarrassed to say, I need help. Because if there's any moment in time where we feel something in an interconnected way, it's right now. So if you ask for help, I know people will reach out. So for example, I can offer emotional help. So I'm doing that. Others can offer financial help. They're doing that. There's a lot of help being offered. On one of my pages, I ask people to just write #help and we help them. So people are willing to help, but we have to step up and ask for it and be vulnerable. And that's also a raw process for many people. And then others who are not in survival mode, those are the subset of people who could use this opportunity to transform their inner world. You know, this is an induced labor. It's a birth canal right now, waiting for the new emergence of the new self. If we can look at it like that, and I know it's hard because we've been shocked out of our complacency, out of our patterns, but if we could see this as a forced rehab out of our addictions, a retreat, a meditation sojourn, then we could perhaps say, okay, I don't have the without, but I do have the within. And how can I use this moment to learn how to handle my mind, how to tame my mind, how to go within? What a window. You know, people have always complained there's no time to meditate. You know, kids, lacrosse, basketball. Okay, now all that is gone. Now you have time to go inward. And what a wonderful opportunity if people would see it like that.
So you just talk about something, this is a new birth canal, right? So you're talking about really for all of humanity. You're saying that this is a moment for us to, in a way, birth a new self for ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, people always are talking about going back to normal, going back to the old. And what that suggests is that the old was natural, the old was healthy, and it wasn't. Every parent I used to work with from the old paradigm, the old recent past, complained. 1 in every 3 children in the US just recently was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. You know, my next book is on anxiety. It's called Superpowered. The reason we wrote it, me and my co-author, is because anxiety was a pandemic in the old normal. So it wasn't so normal. So globally, we are asked to pause. And this major opportunity to realign, reset, and purge the waste, the excess, the competition, the greed, the stress that we were living under, and find a new way. And this is scary for people. That's why people don't like birth canals. Labor is tough. The tunnel is dark. It is the morphing of the new, shedding of the old. But the new is not yet imagined, and that's scary for people. So we used to live under the illusion of predictability and certainty, but it was an illusion.
Yes,
And
I love that because I think safety, this is something I learned late in life. Safety, certainty, these are all illusions that we tell ourselves these things in order for us to calm ourselves in a way. But getting comfortable, as you say, with the unknown, with the opportunity that's presenting to ourselves. And if you have kids that are old enough, is that something that you recommend talking to them about? If perhaps you have teenagers, to say, you know, I've been thinking about, I'd like to change the way we're living. I'd like to change the way we're running around. What are your thoughts? Here are mine.
I think that would be fabulous for children to be able to see this as a portal, a window for recommitting to new ideals in life, and telling your kids, you know, I used to think I knew your future. I used to think I was planning the best things for your future. But what I was really doing was taking care of my anxiety that I didn't know the future. And now I realize through this virus, there is no future. No one knows the next moment. And I want to now begin living attuned, connected, awake, present to you and me in this moment. And you know, our teenagers, what they're going to tell us is, Mom, I always told you, you know, to live in the present. Our children know this intuitively. They know it completely. It's we who've taken them out of the present into the future. And now it's time to come back to the present.
So my daughter was saying that to me. I love this more simpler way, she was saying. I like that the pace is slower. I like that you're not traveling so much. I like that we're walking and people say hello. I like this new pace. But what about so many parents, Dr. Shefali, who are at home who are saying, you know, like, I have to keep kids busy. I am losing my mind with these little kids at home. Or I'm in a relationship where I'm divorced and I have one set of rules and my co-parent doesn't adhere to the same quarantine rules, doesn't adhere to the same social distance rules. I'm losing my mind.
Well, what I would say to that parent is that she's not losing her mind. She just hasn't found it yet. And it was always lost. Now the lid is off. And, you know, the lid of our routines, our desire to be, you know, in an order, an organization, all that is lost. So
Yeah.
she feels she's losing her mind along with that complacency. She isn't losing her mind. It's time to find it. You know, the mistaken idea is that now things are more stressful. No, the real thing that's happening is that the lid is off. The veils have been burned. So if your relationship was unstable before, now it's cataclysmically torrential. If you and your children were fighting all the time, now you're fighting every minute. You know, whatever was is now without the lid. So this is why we should not blame the virus. We should just quote unquote realize this is who we are in the raw. And now we have a choice, right? We had a choice point to either blame and enter stagnation and passivity and just blame, 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 or realize, oh, this is the life I've co-created. I get to see it in its raw. I don't like it. It's too harsh. You know, I want to go to the bar and pretend I don't have this life. I want to go and escape at work and pretend I don't have this life. Well, now I got to see the life I have. And it's a bitter pill for many because it's completely transparent now, but also an opportunity to see the truth of your existence. You know,
I printed out your piece today in the Sunday paper because Dr. Chevalley goes through 10 things that each of us can do. And what I think these 10 tips or 10 tools, as I said before you came on, are good, whether you're a parent, the child of someone trying to work through your relationship with a parent, or whether you're just hoping to be a parent or single and alone, that one of these things is putting yourself first. Stop punishment and start creating compassionate boundaries. Many of us did not grow up with boundaries, and therefore kind of putting them into our parenting is a new space. How would you kind of advise somebody to create compassionate boundaries? I love that concept.
Well, the reason I use the word compassionate boundaries is because so much of parenting is about uncompassionate control. And, you know, in our desire to control our children, we've used punishment and threats and yelling and timeouts. And it's time to change that paradigm to not, this virus has shown us we've never had control. And the least control we have is over the destiny of our children. You know, that's what my work is all about, because parents love to think that they control their children and they have no control over their spirits. So what we do have control over is what we are in charge of in the conditions we create. And there we can have compassionate boundaries. So have 1 pack of cookies, don't have 20 pack of cookies. You know, allow a little bit of negotiation, but don't be a dogmatic tyrant. Compassionate boundaries are created attuned to who your children are, with a respect for their sovereignty, understanding that we cannot cut off their hands arbitrarily. You know, so much of parenting is arbitrary. Oh, you rolled your eyes at me? That's it. I'm not going to send you for any parties for the next 2 years, right? We just throw out things because we think we're capable of it. We're in control. So compassionate boundaries means creating the conditions without controlling the child.
Now that is huge. That's huge. I mean, creating the conditions without creating the child. That could go for a marriage. That could go for anything, is creating the conditions, but not the person.
And that's very hard for
everyone.
For everyone, because our eyes are always on the person.
Yes.
But we don't realize the person has a spirit and their own destiny. And how can we take this fire and put it in a little prescription bottle?
How has this experience changed you? How has it opened your eyes in a different way?
Well, you know, this is what every wisdom teacher waits for, you know, this real slap in humanity's face. I love this moment in time. I mean, this is what I've been waiting for, because I teach about the lack of control we have. I teach releasing the desire to live in the future. I release the dogmatism of the tyranny of competition and comparison. And this virus has equalized everybody. You know, wisdom is all about interconnection, oneness, democracy. There is no hierarchy. And this virus has shown that. So for me, it is the most delicious moment in my time, notwithstanding the pain. And pain is part of death of the old self, the egoic pain of dying, as well as physical death. So I'm not undermining the great pain that people are suffering. But I also know as a therapist that pain is the only way this dimension seems to wake up. So we need a lot of pain to wake up. Unfortunately, we don't wake up through insight. We wake up when we are completely stripped. So for me, as a teacher teaching this, but seeing how hard it is for people to get, now I see that because they've been stripped, there's a window where the ego is not so defended. And I'm trying to just go in through that window. And that's why I've been teaching every day, because I see this is a precious moment where the ego is down, we're vulnerable, we're raw, but this is where transformation takes place.
So that's such a beautiful thing. And you can follow Dr. Shefali. And as she said, if you need help, you can write in help. She is teaching every day because recognizing that people are going through this moment in so many different ways, right? How we are processing. We hear a lot about we're all in this together, but we're also kind of in it individually. Your experience is different than mine. There are people on here who are like, I'm a single dad. I have teenagers. I have little kids. Everybody is in it differently in a way. So to think that, oh, my neighbor might be okay and I'm not, therefore something's wrong with me. No, it's to recognize that this is very individual. And maybe what, as you were saying, what was there before is now there in plain sight. But that's actually okay, right?
Oh my goodness, yes. But it depends on how willing the person is to wake up.
Yes.
If you wanted to keep hiding in pretense and in the comfort of your delusions, then this is going to be an even more painful process. But if you're willing to see that this is an opportunity, a bitter pill, to look in the mirror and see the truth of who we are, then this moment could be the turning point in your life where you stop living in delusion, in fear and control, and rise to the birth of a new you that could live in greater freedom. You know, the past you may have lived bound to the opinions of your parents, bound in fear of your neighbors and your people who went to your church or your synagogue. This is an opportunity to turn that around and go, I am not living inauthentically anymore. This is my turning point. Blame the pandemic, but I am going to now wake up and begin following my dreams and manifesting my purpose and living me. Because this could, when we look in the mirror and it's hard to see, what we're really saying is hard to see is how inauthentically we've been living, how we've been sacrificing our authenticity, either through substance abuse or some other emotional abuse.
Yeah,
you know, so
said, because I think it's also, it's in a way what you're saying is it's about you, the parent. It's not about your kids. It's not about your kids driving you crazy. It's not about that teenager who shuts the door and only wants to be on the computer. It's about you and the environment and about this invitation, as you're saying, to transformation for you in the environment that you're creating or you're alluding that you think you're controlling, correct?
100%. You know, conscious parenting or conscious living is looking at every moment as a reflection of how we can grow and heal. So the virus, the divorce, the job loss, the teenager banging his door, the kid getting a C grade, the pimple on the face, everything, when you look at it spiritually, is a wake-up call for us to heal and to ask, what am I resisting? How can I surrender? What expectation did I have that was an illusion? How can I release that expectation? Because all suffering at the end of the day comes down to the mismatch between expectation and reality. I was living in an as-if world based on my fantasies, and I didn't want to accept the as-is. How am I resisting the as-is? And when we surrender to the isness of our reality, the teenager, the C grade, or this crisis, so to speak. A crisis is just a turning point. It's been given this fearful term, but it's just a turning point. When I look at every moment as an opportunity to look at my own resistance, look at my own infantile fantasies crushing, then I grow up. Then I stop depending on the outer world and I begin realizing that the power lies within me.
That is so powerful. I hope everybody just takes a moment to let that sink in. She said about 10 really jaw-dropping, powerful things about this moment, how we perceive this moment, how we look at this moment, how we look at ourselves in this moment. And instead of looking at this moment as something that's ruining us, or something that we can't bounce back from, or something that happened to us, but to look at it as an invitation, as a wake-up call, as a opportunity to go through a new birth canal and rebirth yourself, and is such your parenting, correct?
Absolutely. You know, my daughter's in the 11th grade, and I wasted the last 3 months not only on tons of SAT tutoring, but also my mental energy on her future. And it was so perfect that this happened for me in 11th grade, because I've been pretty good about not controlling her future. But in 11th grade, I got sucked in by the college pandemic. And I was totally in the virus of fear around her college. I was like doing what every parent does. I could resist till now. And how beautiful for me personally that this happened now, because it showed me the one time I succumbed to the regular fear of the mainstream culture, I got slapped in my face. And my daughter said to me, Mom, I told you, don't waste money on the SAT 7 months before. Just do it 30 days before. And I didn't listen to her because I got into the pandemic of fear. And guess what? In her year, the SATs may not even exist for her. It was just such a beautiful, ironical moment, and such a slap in my egoic fear's face to wake me up, to go, at no time must you relinquish the present moment for the future, even when justified by culture. Know yourself, Shefali. And I had fallen prey, and I knew better, but I was like, what do I do? Everyone's nervous in 11th grade. Can I be nervous in 11th grade at least? And I fell for it. And I saw the fear rise. I saw my time wasted, my mental energy. And look, now we don't know the future. She may never go to college. Oh my goodness. So what are we planning for, right? We live our entire life afraid of the future. And it's now time to reorient, to live enlivened today. All we have now, the cliche, is today. But now we see it clearly. That's why for me as a teacher, it's such a stunning, staggering moment of truth, because all wisdom teachers know we only live in the present, but now we get to see it palpably. We are at the razor's edge of that truth. Only today. Nobody knows tomorrow. For the first time as a globe, nobody, not the president, not the prince, not the surgeon general, not the doctor, no one knows tomorrow. What a beautiful lesson. Because life is only lived in the present. This was always true. It was an eternal truth. But we fooled ourselves to thinking we knew the future.
That is so beautiful. Stunning, staggering moment of truth. And what I also love about what you just said is that even you're a wisdom teacher. You're a conscious being who works at this every day. And even you fell prey, as you say, to culture. And this snapped you forward. So that let go of kind of, if you're feeling like, oh my God, I also did what Dr. Chevalley did. I also, haven't done a good job here or done a good job. This is a moment of stunning, staggering truth that you can grab a hold of, really, as you're saying, and redirect yourself. And also, as a result, redirect your parenting, redirect your friendship, redirect how you show up in this world today.
Right, Maria, because let me tell you, the one plague of parenting where the parental ego of control and dogmatism shows up the most is there is no childhood. There is only a childhood for college. The Western world raises children not for the child, but for where they will go to college. And it is now time to see that this resume building that we do, instead of connection building, instead of presence building, instead of playfulness building, creativity, moment by moment living, has to end. All childhood has become a childhood for college. The instrument the child plays, let's play a unique instrument, seashells. I don't know, parents create all this nonsense to create a unique resume. We need to burn the institution of living childhood for college. That needs to end. And we have to see the colleges and the systems of corruption around education, call it what it is, but the parent has to stop plugging into it. The parent has to detach and be willing to endure the anxiety of not following the crowd. This is what this virus is showing us. You know how many parents whose children just went to college or went to college a couple of years ago who wasted their entire childhood gearing for that, the kid going to med school or kid going to college, and now we don't know where their future will be. And we wasted hours and years of our children's lives in the stress of the present, never knowing. We didn't know this present moment. We couldn't have known it. So now let's take that lesson. Let's take that lesson now when we again begin conjuring the future and go no more. No more. Sure, I can plan, but I will never do it with the zeal and the delusion of yesterday. Never again will I have the complacency to tell my child, mommy knows best. I know that this is going to guarantee you success. I'm building your life for your future. Now let those words never come out of your mouth, right?
Wow, that is so beautiful. There's so many people here. I think also seeing yourself, if you're a parent, as a leader. And as you just said, you have to endure the pressure that comes from other parents and say, this is how I'm doing it. I'm focusing on presence. I'm focusing on play. I'm focusing on taking my kid out of school and letting them have these experiences. And instead of what you're saying is a lot of the pressure and the anxiety creating situations that so many of us have fallen prey to. I think that's such great advice, but it also, you can hear it, but actually implementing it and sticking with it is the challenge of a conscious parent.
Well, now we've been given an easy path to doing that. You know, the virus has plugged us out of systems and shown us we can't go to church anymore. Colleges have closed down. Everything's going online. Everything is fluid, but it was always fluid.
Yes.
We made it rigid. We fossilized our lives into stagnant institutions to give us comfort. This is what we did on Friday. This is what we did on Saturday. This is what we do at 18. This is what we do at 24. Life is not rigid, but we created rigidified, fossilized institutions to just linearly go from step by step, so we didn't have to think. We didn't have to flow. We didn't have to be creative. So we were never afraid. We just knew what was coming next. Now that's how sheep live, apparently, right? Even sheep may be more creative than that. But we took out the creativity of our children's flow. And we told our children, this is how you need to be. And we put the blinders, tunnel vision. You know, we told them this, you're a Jewish person, a Muslim person, Catholic person. You're at 25, you do this. At 16, you do this. Then you have 3 children, 2 cars. I mean, this is not life. Life by nature is what the virus is showing us. Lived only in the present, interconnected by breath. We are one. There is no hierarchy. You never know when you're going to be mortal because you're always mortal. You will never know when your fragility will break because you're always fragile. Now live with that vulnerability and don't live with your padding of your delusion of certainty. Live in the groundlessness of the present moment. But it's in that living of bare, exposed groundlessness that you discover courage, that you discover adventure, that you let go of things that don't work for you because they're all illusions. They're not who you are. So anything that's not working in your life right now, this is the time to shed it, right? Let it go. That's why it's such a turning point.
Wow. I'm so glad we met. I'm so glad that you are out in the world saying these things, doing this work, changing lives. I'm watching all these comments. How powerful, how life-changing. So I want to thank you, Dr. Chevalley, for taking your Sunday morning, spending it with us. I want to thank you for the piece you wrote in the Sunday paper, 10 tips, tools. I sat with them. I underlined them this morning. They're really helpful, even with you, if you have grown children like I do. The chance to parent is an ongoing thing. And I thank you for your wisdom. And I can't wait to be able to hug you And thank you for putting it this way, for putting it this way for all of us. And it's a great, great gift. And so I want to thank you so much for your work, your wisdom, your vulnerability, and all of the ways you put this. I love it.
Maria, thank you. You know, we've been in touch for a few years and wanting to meet. So this morning is my gift that you've given me. So I thank you. I love you. I love the work, your energy. We will meet. And
Yes.
until then, thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless and have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Wonderful. How great is she? Wow. She said so many powerful things. I hope that that got your Sunday off to a good start, to a thoughtful start, to an inspiring start about how you can see this moment as an opportunity to be reborn. I say that in the spiritual sense of it. Every day gives us, each and every one of us, a chance to be reborn, to take a hold, to shed what we don't like about ourselves, be we parents or not, and gives us an opportunity to step into who we want to be and what we want to put out into the world. And her piece, which is in the Sunday paper, which is a free digital, I saw a couple of you asking, the Sunday paper is a free digital newsletter that we do. It has its own Instagram account. You can follow it on Instagram. You can subscribe to it. People like Dr. Chevalley write in it. Susan David also wrote in it today. Dr. Adam Steinloff wrote about what it's like to actually be a doctor on the front lines. As I said earlier, Michael Beckwith. Every week we have these incredibly inspiring teachers who write and share their visions to inspire your heart and mind, and their mission in all different ways is to move humanity forward. And they do it from their heart. They do it because they believe that's their mission, that is their why. Coming back to Simon, they are here to be teachers for this moment. And for so many of them, they've been teaching for years. Jack Cornfield, who was on this Sunday Paper Live a few weeks ago, he's been teaching for 40 years. And yet this moment, as he said, everybody's coming to him for his teaching in a way that they weren't. Again, people say, how can I watch this again? It will be on the Sunday Paper Instagram. It also goes to YouTube. Yes, we will post it, but first it will live here, I think, in the stories for 24 hours. I think that's how it works. You can go read the Sunday paper today and read what Dr. Shefali said. She lays it out in 10 points in a very clear, concise way, practical. That's what I think is really important, is that these tools for wisdom, tools for conscious parenting, tools for showing up in the world are practical and easy to implement. And she does that this week in the Sunday paper in such a beautiful way, as does Susan David, as does really everybody who writes in the Sunday paper. The Sunday paper name, it's called the Sunday Paper. It's called the Sunday Paper on Instagram. You can sign up for it. It's free. I want to thank, as I said, everybody who's bought a cup of coffee for the Sunday paper. That keeps us going. It keeps us caffeinated. It keeps us out there every week looking for great stories, looking for great writers. Somebody said you have so many pretty songbirds. Yes, thank you for noticing that. And thank you for directing me to that. I just want to say I woke up this morning, stayed in my pajamas, didn't put on any makeup. I want this Sunday Paper Live to be, I woke up like this. I want you all to be able to come to this just as you are, on the inside and on the outside, just as you are, because just who you are is good enough. Just who you are is all you need. That took me a really long time to realize, to be aware of, that everything I needed was inside of me, and everything I was enough. So if you're struggling with being enough, if you're struggling with thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen? I want you to know that everything you need is within you. And as Dr. Chevalley said, asking for help is the first step. I've had to do that at numerous stages in my life, asking for help, whether it was in my parenting, whether it was in my own being. And every time I've done it with some trepidation, but I've always been answered. I've always been helped. And that also took me a really long time to realize. So hopefully you're younger than I am, and you learn this at a younger age, because it will make your life, I think, and your path forward easier, simpler. Easy is not always so great, because I think growth comes from, pushing up against something. That's where resilience comes from, which is what I try to teach my kids. When they say, what do I do? What do I do? I say, you figure out what you do, because that's how you build strength. That's how you build grit. That's how you build resilience. And that's what we're all going to need coming out of this moment. We're going to need compassion for ourselves and others. We're going to need love for ourselves and others. We're going to need empathy for ourselves and others. We're going to need understanding for ourselves and others. And that's what this community is about. That's what the Sunday paper is about. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm a voiceover actor talent, and I got a lot of events in the city. Bob Labano, well, good for you. Empathy for the other. You're absolutely right. I love that people here are saying that they found this conversation moving, helpful, authentic. That's the focus of this Sunday paper. I wish you could see. Can you see my dog there who just came? Can you see him? That's Champ. And he thinks half the time he's a cat. So I just wanted you to see him. And I want you to go out and have a great day, and to think of yourself as a wisdom teacher. Actually, I love that phrase, a wisdom teacher. And you can be that, whether you're a parent or not. But imagine if you're a parent and you see yourself as a wisdom teacher, and you see yourself as someone not having to control the person that you're parenting, but just creating the best environment for that person. That is such a beautiful vision for you, for your children, whether you're in a one-room apartment. One of the young women I work with on the Today Show, she's the primary breadwinner. She's single. She has 2 kids, and she takes care of her parents in a 2-bedroom apartment in New York. And I think of her all the time in this, the joy that she gets up with every day. She's a bridge between generations. She's a bridge. And we're all a bridge to another person. So go out today. Think of yourself as a wisdom teacher, as a bridge of love, of compassion, of empathy, and have a beautiful day. Because as Dr. Chevalley said, today is all we have. None of us know what's going on tomorrow. We know it's Monday, and then it's Tuesday, and if we're lucky enough to live it, but we don't know what it will bring. So as somebody just said, Maria Trim, the kids are the winners in this situation. Yes, the kids, if we do what Dr. Chevalley suggests, the kids, our kids, will be winners. So I'm going to have her voice in my head today. I have older children, but I'm going to stop asking my son, who's about to graduate from college, does he know what he's doing? How could he know what he's doing when none of us know what we're doing? I'm going to honor the grief that he's experiencing by not graduating. I'm going to honor his uncertainty, and I'm going to remind him, just like I'm going to try to remind my other children, that they are extraordinary, that they are creative, and they actually are wisdom teachers. They have been my wisdom teachers. They have been my teachers of compassion, empathy, and wisdom. Dr. Chevalley, thank you for the awakening this morning. What a way. I'm going to go to my church, which is already in progress. We went a little bit longer. I hope you have, oh my God, look, I picked wisdom on my cup today. I didn't even realize it. I have these cups that have different words on them. And I picked wisdom today, and we got a wisdom teacher. Oh my God. Thank you, universe. Wisdom. So, yes, Wanda, my friend Wanda, farewell to our egos. Yes, I said farewell to that quite a while ago, but I have to do it all the time. Lori Weinstock, I see you on here very often. Thank you for joining. And please spread the word about the Sunday paper that inspires hearts and minds, moves humanity forward. We have beautiful poetry in it, beautiful writing in it, news that rises above the noise, news that doesn't stress you out, but news that inspires you and informs you and keeps you above the noise and enables you to learn something and know something. Our goal is to raise you up above the noise, inform you and inspire you, not scare you, but allow you to be inspired and allow you to move humanity forward. Where is the Sunday paper, Carol Greenstein? It's online. You just go to the Sunday paper, you go to mariashriver.com, sign up for the Sunday paper. It's free, and you just read. And it's easy. You just, mariashriver.com, Sunday paper. You can go to the Sunday paper Instagram and sign up and swipe or what all that is and get it. Comes to you free. And as I said, it started as a labor of love and it continues to be so. And I think it will be needed in a post-pandemic world. I hope it will. I hope its voice will continue to rise above the noise. And it has a little small staff of Sydney and Susan and Mara who pump it out every week. And I want to thank them. So thank you all so much for joining us today on Sunday Paper Live. If I don't know if we'll continue this, but we're going to just keep going. And Mama said I've been struggling, and so I needed to see this. Well, that's exactly why we do it. In the middle. So there's my daughter. Good morning, Catherine. Good morning. I love you. I'm going to be a more conscious parent today, Catherine. Okay. God bless you all and have a great day.